The Louboutin caught Maureen's shin before she even saw it coming. She was on her knees, cleaning solution soaking through her uniform, spray bottles rolling across marble, when the red-soled heel connected with bone. Not hard enough to break anything. Hard enough to know it was deliberate. Clumsy thing. Maureen kept her head down. The Grand Millennium's 23rd floor hallway stretched empty in both directions. Just her, the scattered supplies, and this woman in a dress that cost more than Maureen's entire year of night school tuition. The woman guest in the presidential suite, bride-to-be according to the staff gossip, stood over her with a champagne flute dangling from manicured fingers. Maureen could smell it on her breath. Could see it in the slight sway of her hips, the looseness of her posture. Did you hear me? I said move. Maureen's fingers closed around the neck of a spray bottle. Her knuckles went pale. 3 buses from her apartment in no one goo to get here. 2 years of bowing and yes-miming and swallowing every insult because she needed this job. Needed the employee scholarship program. Needed to finish her hospitality management degree and get her mother and sisters out of that Lagos apartment where the ceiling leaked and the neighbors fought every night. She loosened her grip. Reached for the fallen bottles. Are you deaf? The woman's voice pitched higher. God, they're hiring anyone now. Can't even understand simple. The elevator chimed. Maureen's head snapped up. The woman, Subin, that was her name, froze mid-sentence. A man stepped into the hallway. Expensive suit, not flashy. Dark hair pushed back from his forehead. Wedding planner trailing behind him with an iPad clutched to her chest like a shield. His eyes went to Subin first. Then down. To Maureen on the floor. To the supplies scattered like evidence. To Subin's raised foot, Louboutin still angled like a weapon. The air in the hallway changed. Maureen felt it in her lungs, that pressure before a storm breaks. Wu Jin. Subin's transformation was instant. Tears welled. Voice cracked. Oh, thank God, this girl, she was screaming at me about tips, and when I said I didn't have cash she attacked me, I was just trying to. Stand up. Maureen's hands stilled on a bottle. The man's voice was quiet. Not soft. Quiet the way a knife drawn from its sheath is quiet. Please, he said. Still looking at her. Stand up. She did. Slowly. Her shin throbbed where the heel had connected. She could feel the bruise blooming under her pants. Could feel Subin's eyes burning into the side of her face. The man, Wu Jin, bent at the waist. A full bow, 90 degrees. The kind Maureen had only seen staff give to VIP guests, to visiting dignitaries. He was bowing to her. I apologize, he said to her shoes, for anything you've endured in this hotel. Please tell me exactly what happened. The wedding planner's face had gone white. Wu Jin, don't be ridiculous. Subin laughed. Too loud. Too bright. You're bowing to the help? Baby, I already told you what. I saw you kick her. The hallway swallowed sound. Maureen's pulse hammered in her ears. She could see Subin in her peripheral vision, mouth open, words dying on her tongue. She fell and I saw you kick her when she was on the ground. Wu Jin straightened. His face was carved from something cold and immovable. I heard what you called her. Subin's hand went to her throat. The champagne flute trembled. It was a misunderstanding. You know I was stressed about the wedding and she was so rude and I barely touched. Don't lie to me. Each word dropped like a stone down a well. Miss Kim. He turned to the wedding planner. Pull the security footage from this hallway. I want to see everything from the past 20 minutes. There's no need for. Show me the footage, Wu Jin said, or I'll get it myself. Maureen's hands had gone numb. She wanted to disappear into the wallpaper, into the floor, into anywhere that wasn't this hallway where her entire livelihood hung in the balance. Guests didn't defend staff. Especially not against other guests. Especially not billionaires against their own fiancés. The wedding planner's fingers flew across her iPad. The security office is on the 5th floor. I can have Miss Kim bring up the files, or we'll go there. Wu Jin's eyes found Maureen's. Will you come with us? As a witness. Her throat closed. She managed a nod. You don't have to, he said. Quieter now. But I think you should. Subin's laugh came out strangled. This is insane. Wu Jin, we're getting married in 3 days. You're really going to over some clumsy maid who can't do her job properly. Her name. Wu Jin didn't look at Subin. Kept his eyes on Maureen. What's your name? Maureen John, she whispered. Maureen. Miss John. He bowed again. Smaller this time. Would you please accompany us to the security office? Before I tell you what Maureen saw on those security tapes, before you find out what really happened in that hallway, if you're already hooked, hit that like button and subscribe. Because what comes next? It's going to change everything. The elevator doors closed on the 4 of them. Maureen pressed herself into the corner. Subin stood on the opposite side, arms crossed, one heel tapping against marble. The wedding planner stared at her iPad like it held the secrets of the universe. Wu Jin stood in the center, hands in his pockets, breathing steady. Maureen's wasn't. The security office smelled like burnt coffee and electronics. Ms. Kim, head of hotel security, 50-something with steel gray hair, looked up from her monitors as they filed in. Mr. Park. She stood quickly, bowed. We weren't expecting. I need footage from the 23rd floor hallway. Presidential suite. Last 20 minutes. Ms. Kim's eyes flicked to Subin, then to Maureen. Back to Wu Jin. Of course. Give me a moment. Her fingers moved across the keyboard. The center monitor flickered. Black and white footage loaded, timestamp in the corner, camera angle from above. Maureen watched herself on screen. Small. Alone. Arranging the orchid display with careful hands. Then Subin entered frame. Even in grainy security footage, even without sound, Maureen could see the rage in her posture. The aggressive lean. The pointing finger. There. Subin's voice behind her in the present. See? She was quiet. Wu Jin's tone could have frozen water. Ms. Kim, is there audio? No, sir. Visual only on the guest floors. Privacy regulations. They watched in silence. Watched Maureen bow, try to speak. Watched Subin step closer. Maureen stumble. The shove. Supplies clattering. The kick. Maureen flinched seeing it again. On screen, her body jerked. She scrambled to gather the bottles on her hands and knees. Subin's mouth moved. Even without sound, Maureen could read the shape of the words. Clumsy thing. Wu Jin's jaw tightened. A muscle jumped in his cheek. There's more, Ms. Kim said quietly. If you want to see it, show me. New footage loaded. Different angles. Different times. Subin snapping her fingers at a waiter. The young man's face crumbling as she berated him, finger jabbing his chest. His shoulders shaking. Crying. Subin throwing a room key at the front desk clerk. The card hitting his face. His head snapping back. Subin shoving past a parking attendant, her mouth forming words Maureen was glad she couldn't hear. Each clip ran 30 seconds. Maybe a minute. Small cruelties, stacking up like kindling. Why wasn't I told? Wu Jin's voice had gone flat. Dangerous. Ms. Kim chose her words carefully. We serve many demanding guests, Mr. Park. Our staff is trained to endure. And Ms. Choi said you were aware. That you found her temper spirited. Maureen saw Wu Jin's hands curl into fists. Saw him force them open again. How many incidents? 17, Ms. Kim said. Over 3 days. The number hung in the air like smoke. Subin finally spoke. Her voice had lost its tears, its trembling. So I was rude to some staff. So what? Do you know how stressful wedding planning is? Do you know how many incompetent people I've had to deal with? You're really going to. Get out. What? Get out of this office. Wu Jin still hadn't looked at her. Wait in the hallway. You can't just. Out. The word cracked like a whip. Subin's face went red. Then white. She grabbed her purse, heels clicking sharp against tile as she stalked out. The door slammed behind her. Silence settled like dust. Wu Jin turned to Maureen. Are you injured? Her voice came out hoarse. Just a bruise. I'm fine. You're not fine. She assaulted you. He ran a hand through his hair. I need you to tell me the truth. Has she done this before? To you specifically? No, sir. Today was the first time she noticed me. Something flickered across his face. But you've seen her. With other stuff. Maureen hesitated. The rules were clear. Never complain about guests. Never contradict them. Never make waves. She had 2 younger sisters back home depending on her remittances. Had her mother's medical bills. Had her tuition. Miss John. His voice softened. Maureen. Please. Yesterday, she said. She made one of the housekeepers cry. Screamed at her about thread count. The girls knew. 17. She didn't know the presidential suite gets 1,200 count sheets specially delivered. She brought 800 count and Miss Choi. Maureen's throat tightened. She said things. About her intelligence. Her family. Her worth. Wu Jin closed his eyes. Why didn't anyone report this? Miss Kim spoke up. The staff was told by Miss Choi that you approved of her directness. That you admired women who knew what they wanted. I see. He opened his eyes. They'd gone dark. And you believed her? We had no reason not to, sir. She's your fiancée. The wedding is in 3 days. We assumed. Ms. Kim trailed off. You assumed I was the kind of man who'd marry someone like that. Not a question. A statement. No one answered. Wu Jin pulled out his phone. Type something. Put it away. Ms. Kim, please make copies of all footage involving Ms. Choi's interactions with staff. Send them to my lawyer. And to the police. Maureen's stomach dropped. The police? She assaulted you. That's a crime. Sir, I don't want any trouble. I just want to keep my job. Your job is secure. He looked at her fully now. But she doesn't get to do this and walk away. Not to you. Not to anyone. Wu Jinxi, the wedding planner, whispered. The wedding. The guests. They're already arriving. 200 people. The deposits alone. Cancel it. What? Cancel the wedding. Cancel everything. Send notices to every guest. Full refunds on travel and accommodations, I'll cover it. And bonuses for every staff member who had to deal with her. Triple pay. The wedding planner's iPad clattered to the floor. Maureen couldn't breathe. This wasn't real. This didn't happen. Billionaires didn't cancel weddings 3 days out because of staff complaints. They didn't bow to housekeepers. They didn't. Ms. John. Wu Jin's voice pulled her back. Where does it hurt? She touched her shin without thinking. Here. But it's not. Ms. Kim, get the hotel doctor. I want her injuries documented. Photographed. He turned back to Maureen. For the police report. And, he paused. I'm sorry. I brought someone into your workplace who hurt you. That's my fault. Maureen shook her head. Words wouldn't come. It is, he said. And I'm going to fix it. The hotel doctor, Dr. Yoon, middle-aged and efficient, examined Maureen's shin in the first aid room while Ms. Kim documented everything with a camera. The bruise had spread, purple-black and angry against her dark skin. Blunt force trauma, Dr. Yoon said, making notes. Consistent with being kicked. The heel left an impression, see here. She pointed at the break in the skin. Barely a centimeter, but precise. That's the edge of the shoe. Maureen watched them photograph it. Felt detached from her own body. Like this was happening to someone else. Wu Jin stood by the door. He hadn't left. You should go, Maureen said quietly. Deal with everything. I'll be fine. I'll wait. Sir. Wu Jin. He said it like a correction. Just Wu Jin. And I'm not leaving until you're cleared. Dr. Yoon finished her examination. Nothing broken. Ice and elevation for the next 24 hours. I'll prescribe something for the pain and inflammation. She looked at Wu Jin. She should rest. No standing for extended periods. She'll have the weekend off, Wu Jin said. Paid. I can work, Maureen started. You shouldn't have to. He checked his phone. The police are sending someone. Detective Han. She'll take your statement. The walls felt too close. I don't know if I can. You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. His voice had gentled. But Maureen, she'll do this again. To someone else. Maybe someone who can't defend themselves at all. The 17-year-old housekeeper's face flashed in Maureen's mind. The waiter who'd cried. The desk clerk with a key card mark on his cheek. Okay, she whispered. I'll talk to them. Dr. Yoon handed her the prescription, squeezed her shoulder, and left. Miss Kim followed with a promise to have the footage ready for the detective. Alone with Wu Jin, the silence stretched. Why? Maureen finally asked. Why are you doing this? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, my Halmoni, my grandmother, she was a seamstress. Worked for wealthy families in Gangnam before the neighborhood was what it is now. She told me once about a client who threw hot tea in her face because a hem was wrong. Second-degree burns. The woman paid her off to stay quiet. 500,000 won. About $400. Maureen's breath caught. My grandmother took the money because she had 3 children and a husband who drank. But she made me promise something. He looked at Maureen directly. She said, when you have power, use it to protect people who don't. Otherwise, what's it for? That's a good promise. It's an easy promise when you're 12 and powerless. Harder when you're 35 and about to marry someone who... He stopped. I didn't see it. I should have. But I didn't. She hid it from you. Which means she knew it was wrong. His jaw tightened. That makes it worse. The door opened. A woman in a dark pantsuit stepped in, Detective Han. 40 maybe. Sharp eyes. She introduced herself, sat across from Maureen, and pulled out a tablet. I'm going to record this, she said. Standard procedure. Is that all right? Maureen nodded. The questions came methodical and calm. What happened? When? Who saw? Maureen answered in a voice that didn't shake, describing the kick, the words, the scattered supplies. Detective Han made notes, asked clarifying questions, kept her face neutral. And you, Han said to Wu Jin. You witnessed the assault? The kick, yes. I saw her foot connect with Ms. John's leg. I heard what she said. What did she say? She called her clumsy thing. His voice went flat again. Earlier, according to the footage, she called her trash. Han made another note. We'll need the security footage. And we'll need to interview Ms. Choi. She's in the building. Probably still upstairs. Wu Jin checked his phone again. My lawyer's on his way. He'll handle The door burst open. Subin stood in the doorway, breathing hard. Mascara smudged under her eyes. hair slightly disheveled. The composed mask was gone. You called the police? Her voice cracked. Woojin, are you insane? Over this? Over her? Detective Han stood. Ms. Choi, I presume. Who are you? Detective Han, Seoul Metropolitan Police. I need to ask you some questions about an assault that occurred. Assault? Subin laughed. High and brittle. She's lying. She's probably trying to extort money. You know how these people are. The air iced over. These people, Detective Han repeated slowly. What people? Subin's eyes darted. I didn't mean, I meant staff. Hotel workers. They see wealthy guests and think. Ms. John is Nigerian, Woojin said. Voice like iron. Is that what you meant? Don't put words in my mouth. Subin's voice pitched higher. I'm the victim here. I was defending myself from an aggressive. The security footage shows otherwise. Detective Han's voice never changed tone. Professional. Cold. It shows you pushing Ms. John, verbally berating her, and then kicking her while she was on the ground. Would you like to revise your statement? Subin's face cycled through expressions, shock, anger, fear, calculation. It was an accident. My foot slipped. I was trying to step around her and my heel caught. You said she was attacking you, Maureen heard herself say. That I was screaming about tips. That wasn't true. You bumped into me first. I stumbled. You pushed me. You're lying. Subin's voice rose. Woojin, are you really going to believe her over me? Your fiancé? We're supposed to get married in 3 days. We're not. He said it quietly. Final. The wedding's cancelled. I'm not marrying you. The silence that followed felt alive. Predatory. Subin's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. You can't do this. My family. Our friends. Everyone's all ready. I've sent the notices. It's done. No. She shook her head. No, you're just angry. You're upset, and you're not thinking clearly. We can fix this. We can. Ms. Choi, Detective Han interrupted. I need you to come to the station. We have questions about multiple incidents involving hotel staff. Multiple? Subin's face drained. What are you talking about? 17 documented incidents over 3 days. Verbal abuse, physical intimidation, 1 count of assault. Han pulled out handcuffs. You're not under arrest yet, but I strongly suggest you cooperate. Subin stared at the handcuffs like they were a foreign object. Something that happened to other people. Not to her. You're joking. Her laugh came out strangled. I'm not going anywhere. Woojin, tell her. Tell her this is ridiculous. Woojin pulled out his phone again. Showed her the screen. My lawyer's waiting at the station. You'll want representation. Your lawyer? You're giving me your... She stopped. Understanding dawned. You're protecting yourself. From me. I'm protecting everyone from you. Including you from yourself. Fuck you. The words came out vicious. Raw. Fuck you and your sanctimonious bullshit. You think you're some kind of hero? Defending the poor helpless maid. She turned to Maureen. Is that what you wanted? To break up a wedding? Ruin someone's life. Maureen's hands clenched in her lap. I wanted to do my job. Your job. Subin spat the words. You're a housekeeper. You clean toilets. And you thought you could. Miss Choi. Detective Han's voice cut through like a blade. You're making this worse. How could it be worse? He's already canceled the wedding. Already chosen her side. What else is there? Criminal charges, Han said flatly, which are looking more likely by the second. So I suggest you stop talking and come with me. Now. Subin's eyes went wild. Desperate. She lunged toward Woojin, grabbed his arm. Please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean any of it. The stress, the wedding planning, I wasn't myself. You know me. You know I'm not like this. He removed her hand gently. I don't know you at all. We've been together 6 months. And you performed for every single day. His voice stayed level. Calm. I watched the footage, Subin. All of it. You switch it on and off like a light. Perfect smile for me, cruelty for them. That's not stress. That's who you are. No. Miss Choi. Detective Han moved forward. Last chance. Come willingly, or I'll arrest you right now for assault. Your choice. Subin's face crumpled. Real tears this time. But Maureen couldn't tell if they were from regret or rage or fear of consequences. Maybe all 3. Fine. Subin straightened. Wiped her face. The mask tried to slide back into place, but the cracks showed. I'll go. But this isn't over. It is, Woojin said. You're not coming back here. Security has your photo. You're banned from the property. My things will be packed and sent wherever you want them. You won't set foot in this hotel again. Detective Han escorted Subin out. The door closed. The silence left behind felt like aftermath. Like the air after an explosion. Maureen's hands were shaking. She pressed them flat against her thighs. You should go home, Woojin said quietly. Rest. Dr. Yoon said. I need to work. The words came out automatic. I can't afford to lose shifts. You're not losing anything. You'll be paid. I don't want charity. It's not charity. He stopped. Reconsidered. You were injured on hotel property during your shift. That's workers' compensation. Standard procedure. She knew he was lying. Knew this wasn't standard anything. But she also knew arguing was pointless. Okay. He checked his phone. I have to deal with the wedding cancellation. 200 guests, most flying in internationally. It's going to be. He trailed off. Ms. Kim will arrange a car to take you home. Company account. Not charity, he added before she could protest. Insurance requires it for workplace injuries. Maureen almost smiled. Almost. Thank you, she said. For everything. Don't thank me for basic human decency. He moved toward the door, then stopped. Maureen. One more thing. She looked up. The hotel manager mentioned you're in night school. Hospitality management. Her stomach tightened. Yes, sir. I mean, yes. My company has a scholarship program. Full tuition, living expenses, guaranteed job placement after graduation. We fund 20 students a year. He pulled out a business card. Set it on the table between them. I'd like to nominate you. The card sat there like a trap. Like something too good to be real. Why? Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. Because you kept your composure under pressure. Because you didn't retaliate even when you had cause. Because you care about your work and your education and you shouldn't have to choose between them. He paused. And because my grandmother would have liked you. Maureen's throat went tight. I don't know what to say. Say you'll think about it. That's all. He opened the door. Ms. Kim will have the application. No pressure. No strings. Just an opportunity. He left. Maureen sat alone in the first aid room, staring at the business card. Park Woo-jin. CEO, Park Industries. Private number handwritten on the back. Her shin throbbed. Her hands had finally stopped shaking. And something inside her chest, something that had been clenched tight for 2 years of bowing and yes-miming and swallowing humiliation loosened. Just a little. Ms. Kim drove her home personally. Insisted on it. The car was a black Mercedes that probably cost more than Maureen's family home in Benin City. She sat in the back, watching Seoul blur past the window. Neon signs. Night markets. People who had no idea what had just happened on the 23rd floor of the Grand Millennium. You did well, Ms. Kim said from the front seat. Most people wouldn't have kept their composure. Didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. You chose dignity. Ms. Kim's eyes found hers in the rearview mirror. That's rare. They pulled up to Maureen's building, 6 floors, peeling paint, laundry hanging from balconies. She felt suddenly self-conscious. This woman in her expensive car, seeing where Maureen lived. Thank you for the ride. Wait. Ms. Kim turned around. You should know something. Mr. Park, he's not like other wealthy clients. He means what he says. The scholarship, the opportunity, that's real. How do you know? Because I was one of his scholarship recipients. 15 years ago. I was working hotel security, barely making rent. He saw something, I guess. Potential. Whatever. She shrugged. Now I run security for the most prestigious hotel in Seoul. So when he offers you something, take it. Maureen's mouth went dry. I will. I'll think about it. Don't think too long. Maureen's apartment was dark when she got home. Small. One room that served as bedroom, living room, and kitchen. The bathroom was shared with 3 other units on her floor. But it was hers. Clean. Safe. More than she'd had growing up. She dropped her bag by the door. Limped to the narrow bed. Sat down heavily. Her phone buzzed. WhatsApp message from her mother in Lagos. How is work, Omomi? Your sister needs money for school fees. 50,000 Nigerian nairas by Friday. Maureen did the math in her head. About 110,000 won. Her next paycheck wasn't until Monday. She'd have to dip into her tuition savings. Again. She typed back, I'll send it tomorrow. How's Blessing's cough? Better. The medicine helped. When are you coming home? Not for a while, Mama. Work is busy. You work too hard. You should rest. Find a nice man. Maureen almost laughed. A nice man. Right. As if she had time for that. As if the nice men were lining up to date an immigrant housekeeper scraping by on minimum wage and scholarships. Her shin throbbed. She pulled up her pant leg. The bruise had spread. Purple and black and angry. Shaped like a shoe. She took a photo. Sent it to her best friend Chioma back in Nigeria. 3 dots appeared immediately. Maureen, what happened? Long story. Guest at the hotel. Did you report it? Police came. The guest's fiancé canceled their wedding over it. Wait, what? I'm serious. He saw her kick me and canceled the whole thing. 3 days before the wedding. That's insane. Who is this man? Jesus returned? Maureen smiled despite herself. A billionaire. Park Woo-jin. CEO of Park Industries. And he canceled his wedding for a housekeeper? For what's right? I think. Girl. Is he single now? Chioma. I'm just saying. Korean billionaire with a conscience? That's a unicorn. You better. Maureen put down her phone. She couldn't think about that. About the way Woo-jin had bowed to her. The way he'd stood in that hallway and chosen her word over his fiancée's. She pulled out the business card instead. Turned it over in her hands. The private number on the back was written in neat, precise handwriting. The scholarship application sat on her tiny desk. She'd picked it up from Ms. Kim before leaving. 10 pages. Essays. References. Transcripts. Full tuition. Living expenses. Job placement. It felt too good to be real. Like a trap dressed up as opportunity. But Ms. Kim's words echoed. I was one of his scholarship recipients. When he offers you something, take it. Maureen opened her laptop. Started filling out the application. At the Grand Millennium, Woo-jin sat in the executive suite and watched his phone explode. Text from his mother, is it true? You canceled the wedding? Text from his business partner, the press is calling. What do I tell them? Text from the wedding planner, guests are arriving at the airport. Some are very upset. Text from Subin's mother, how dare you humiliate my daughter this way? We will sue. He ignored them all. Opened his laptop instead. Pulled up the scholarship program database. Maureen John's file was already started. Ms. Kim worked fast. Age, 23. Country of origin, Nigeria. Current position, housekeeping staff, Grand Millennium Hotel. Education, third-year hospitality management student, Seoul National University Night Program. GPA, 3.9. He read through her employment record. 2 years. 0 complaints. Consistent excellent performance reviews. Multiple commendations from guests for going above and beyond. His grandmother's voice in his head, you can tell everything about a person by how they treat those who can't fight back. Subin had failed that test spectacularly. But Maureen had kept her composure while being kicked. Had answered his questions with dignity. Had cared more about keeping her job than pressing charges. That was strength. Real strength. His phone rang. His grandmother. Halmoni. Is it true? Her voice was sharp. Alert. You canceled the wedding? Yes. Thank God. He heard her exhale. I never liked her. Too smooth. Too perfect. Like plastic fruit. Despite everything, Woo-jin smiled. You could have said something. Would you have listened? Probably not. Then why waste my breath? She paused. What happened? He told her. All of it. The kick. The footage. Maureen's bruised shin. Subin's mask slipping. Good, his grandmother said when he finished. You did the right thing. The expensive thing. Ego. Money comes back. Dignity doesn't. She made a dismissive sound. Tell me about the girl. The one who was hurt. Nigerian. 23. Putting herself through university while working full-time. Sends money home to her family. Like I did. Yes. And you're giving her a scholarship. If she accepts, she will. She's smart enough to recognize an opportunity. His grandmother's voice softened. You know what this means, don't you? What? You'll be responsible for her now. You intervened. You changed her life. In Korean tradition, when you save someone. Halmoni, I didn't save her life. You saved her dignity. Same thing. She paused. Be careful, Sinjanam. The world will talk. Billionaire cancels wedding, gives scholarship to the woman his fiancé hurt. People will make stories. Let them. They'll say you have feelings for her. I just met her. And nothing. She was hurt on my watch. I'm correcting that. His grandmother's tone said she didn't believe him. Just remember, doing the right thing often comes with unexpected consequences. They hung up. Woo-jin sat in the silence of his office. 23rd floor. Corner suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul. He thought about Maureen in her housekeeping uniform. Supplies scattered at her feet. That bruise blooming on her shin. He thought about the way she'd looked at him when he bowed. Shocked. Confused. Like no one had ever shown her basic respect before. His grandmother was right about one thing. He'd intervened. Changed the trajectory of Maureen's life with a single decision. But he hadn't considered the consequences. Hadn't considered that he might be changing his own life too. Here's the question. Did Woo-jin do the right thing? Or did he just make both their lives more complicated? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to see what happens when news of the canceled wedding goes public, when Subin's family comes for revenge, hit that subscribe button. Because this story? It's only just beginning. 3 weeks later, Maureen stood in front of Seoul National University's administration building, scholarship acceptance letter in hand. Full tuition. Living stipend. Company housing, a studio apartment in Gangnam that made her current place look like a closet. It was real. All of it. She'd moved in 2 days ago. Was still getting used to the space. The hot water that worked. The washer and dryer in the unit. The view. Her phone buzzed. Text from Chioma. Send photos of the new place. She snapped a few pictures. The tiny kitchen. The actual bedroom separated from the living area. The bathroom with its rainfall shower. Girl, you're living like a Korean drama character now. When's the rich CEO love interest showing up? Never. This is professional. A scholarship. That's all. Sure. And I'm the Queen of England. Maureen put her phone away. Headed into the building for her first day of full-time classes. No more night school. No more splitting her attention between studying and scrubbing toilets. The guilt sat heavy in her chest. The Grand Millennium had offered to keep her on payroll, reduced hours, flexible schedule, same pay. Woo Jin's doing, obviously. But she declined. Couldn't accept more charity than she already had. Instead, she'd picked up weekend shifts at a small cafe near campus. Enough to send money home. Enough to feel like she was still earning her keep. The morning passed in a blur of syllabi and introductions. Business management. Advanced hospitality economics. Hotel operations strategy. Courses she'd been taking one at a time, stretched over years. Now all at once. She could do this. Had to do this. This opportunity wouldn't come twice. During lunch, she sat alone in the courtyard. Pulled out her phone. Against her better judgment, searched for news about the cancelled wedding. Headlines filled the screen. Billionaire CEO cancels wedding days before ceremony. Park Woo-jin calls off engagement to socialite Choi S-obin. Sources. Bride's treatment of hotel staff led to split. She clicked on one article. Scrolled through. Most of it was speculation. Anonymous sources claiming Soo-bin had a temper. Quotes from wedding guests expressing shock and disappointment. Then, at the bottom, Park Industries has announced a new initiative, expanded scholarship program for service industry workers pursuing higher education. CEO Park Woo-jin stated, "We have a responsibility to support those who support us. The program will fund 50 additional students annually, focusing on hospitality and service management." Maureen's throat tightened. He'd expanded the program. Because of her. Because of what happened. Maureen John. She looked up. A woman stood there, 30s, designer clothes, expensive bag. Pretty in that carefully maintained way. Yes, I'm Park Ji-hye, Woo-jin's older sister. She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. May I sit? Maureen's stomach dropped. Of course. Ji-hye settled onto the bench like she owned it. Studied Maureen with a kind of assessment that felt like being priced at market. I wanted to meet you, Ji-hye said. The woman who ended my brother's engagement. I didn't, that wasn't. Relax. I'm not angry. Ji-hye pulled out her phone. Showed Maureen a photo. Soo-bin at a charity gala. Perfect dress, perfect smile, arm linked with Woo-jin's. I never liked her. Too calculating. But our mother approved, so. She shrugged. Why are you telling me this? Because you need to understand something. Ji-hye's voice dropped. Serious now. Soo-bin's family is old money. Connected. Her father sits on multiple corporate boards. And right now, they're furious. Humiliated. That's not my fault. No, but you're part of the story. And stories need villains. Ji-hye leaned in. They're already spreading rumors. That you seduced my brother. That you orchestrated the whole thing to get money out of him. That you're a gold digger who saw an opportunity and took it. Maureen's hands went cold. None of that is true. Doesn't matter. Perception is truth in our world. Ji-hye sat back. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to prepare you. The Choi family plays dirty. And you're an easy target, young, foreign, working class. They'll use every piece of ammunition they can find. What do you want me to do? Be careful. Don't engage with the press. Don't post on social media. Don't give them anything they can twist. Ji-hye stood. And if things get bad, if they come after you directly, call me. She handed Maureen a business card. My brother made his choice. We stand by it. That means we stand by you. She left before Maureen could respond. The afternoon classes passed in a fog. Maureen barely heard the lectures. Her mind kept circling back to Ji-hye's words. Gold digger. Seduced him. Orchestrated the whole thing. She'd been kicked. Humiliated. And now she was the villain? After class, she walked to the cafe for her shift. Put on the apron. Made lattes and smiled at customers and tried not to think about wealthy families plotting revenge. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ms. John, this is Detective Han. I wanted to update you on the case. Ms. Choi has been charged with assault. Court date is set for next month. You'll need to testify. I'll be in touch with details. The message sat there. Undeniable. Real. She was going to have to face Soo-bin again. In court. In front of lawyers and judges and probably press. Another text came through. This one from Woo Jin's number. I heard my sister found you. I hope she didn't scare you. We're handling the Choi family's response. You don't need to worry. WJ. Maureen stared at the message. Typed and deleted 3 responses. Finally settled on. Thank you. I appreciate everything you've done. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. You earned this opportunity. What happened to you is wrong. I'm just making sure you have the chance you deserve. She put her phone away before she could respond. Before she could say something stupid like, why do you care? Or, what do you want from me? Or, why does this feel like more than just a scholarship? Because it did. Feel like more. And that terrified her. That night, alone in her new apartment, Maureen stood at the window overlooking Gangnam. Lights stretched to the horizon. Seoul at night, glittering and vast. Somewhere out there, Subin was plotting. The Choi family was strategizing. And Woo Jin was what? Protecting her? Atoning for his mistakes? Or something else entirely? Her phone rang. International number. Her mother. Omo me, I got your money. Thank you. Of course, Mama. You sound tired. Are you eating enough? Yes. Are you safe? In that big city. Maureen touched the window. Cool glass against her palm. I'm safe. Good. Your father would be proud. You're making something of yourself. Her throat tightened. Her father had died when she was 15. Heart attack. No warning. One day selling goods in Benin market, the next day gone. She'd promised him she'd do better. Be more. I miss him, Mama. Me too. Every day. Her mother's voice softened. But he's watching. He sees you. And he's proud. The court date arrived like a storm cloud, visible from miles away, but still devastating when it hit. Maureen sat in the waiting room outside the courtroom, wearing the one professional outfit she owned. Black blazer from a second-hand shop. Pressed pants. Simple earrings. She'd pulled her braids back into a neat bun. Detective Han sat beside her, going over testimony notes. They're going to try to rattle you, Han said. Make you emotional. Angry. Don't take the bait. Just answer the questions honestly and calmly. What if I can't remember everything? Then say that. I don't recall is a perfectly valid answer. Han looked at her. You're going to do fine. The courtroom doors opened. A bailiff called them in. The space was smaller than Maureen expected. Wooden benches. Fluorescent lights. Judge at the front. Subin sat at the defense table with 2 lawyers, expensive suits, leather briefcases. She'd cut her hair shorter. Wore minimal makeup. Looked almost demure. Calculated, Maureen realized. Every detail designed to present innocence. Woo Jin sat in the gallery. He met Maureen's eyes. Nodded once. She took the witness stand. The prosecutor, a stern woman named Kim, walked her through the events. What happened that day? The kick. The words. Maureen answered each question carefully. Stuck to facts. Kept her voice steady. Then came the defense attorney. Young. Male. Smirking like he'd already won. Miss John, he began, you've been in Korea for how long? 2 years. And during that time, you've worked at the Grand Millennium Hotel as a housekeeper. Is that correct? Yes. Must be difficult. Foreign country. Low-paying job. Struggling to make ends meet. He said it like sympathy, but his eyes were cold. You send money home to Nigeria, yes? To your mother and sisters. I support my family. Yes. How much do you send per month? Prosecutor Kim stood. Objection. Relevance. I'm establishing motive, Your Honor. The judge nodded. I'll allow it. But get to your point, counselor. The defense attorney turned back to Maureen. How much? About 200,000 won per month. Sometimes more. Her face felt hot. Depending on what they need. That's a lot of money for someone making minimum wage. He walked closer to the stand. You must have been desperate. Looking for opportunities. Ways to improve your situation. I was working. Going to school. That's how I improved my situation. Right. Night school. Hospitality management. He smiled. Ambitious. But expensive. Must have been hard to afford. I had an employee scholarship. Had. Past tense. He pounced. But now you have something better, don't you? Full scholarship from Park Industries. Nice apartment in Gangnam. All expenses paid. That's quite an upgrade. Maureen's hands clenched in her lap. I applied for the scholarship. I qualified. Just days after this alleged incident with Ms. Choi. Days after Mr. Park canceled his wedding. He paused. Let that hang in the air. Quite a coincidence. Objection. Prosecutor Kim's voice was sharp. Counsel is implying. I'm simply establishing timeline, Your Honor. The scholarship program existed before the incident, Maureen said. Her voice came out stronger than she felt. Mr. Park didn't create it for me. But he did expand it. 50 additional slots. Right after canceling his wedding. After publicly siding with you. The attorney leaned on the witness stand. Tell me, Miss John. Did you know Mr. Park would be in that hallway that day? What? No. Did you plan the confrontation with Miss Choi? No. She came up to me. Did you see an opportunity when Mr. Park appeared? A wealthy, soon-to-be married man who might feel guilty? Who might? That's not what happened. Maureen's voice cracked. She took a breath. Forced calm. She kicked me. I didn't plan anything. I was doing my job. Your job. He pulled out a document. According to hotel records, you were assigned to the 22nd floor that day, not the 23rd. Why were you on the presidential suite level? Her stomach dropped. I was helping another staff member. She needed supplies from the storage closet. Which staff member? I don't remember her name. She was new. Convenient. He smiled. No way to verify your story. It's the truth. Is it? Or did you go to that floor knowing Mr. Park would be there? Knowing his fiancée had a temper? Knowing you could provoke an incident that would? I didn't provoke anything. Maureen's hands were shaking. She called me trash. She kicked me while I was on my knees picking up bottles. I never. Miss John. The attorney's voice softened. False kindness. I understand. You come from poverty. You saw a chance to change your life. Maybe you didn't plan all of it, but when the opportunity presented itself. That's not true, isn't it? You're sitting here in new clothes, living in Gangnam, full scholarship, connected to one of Korea's wealthiest families. All because of one incident with a woman who's now facing criminal charges. He turned to the judge. I'd say someone benefited quite well from being kicked. The courtroom erupted. Prosecutor Kim shouting objections. The judge calling for order. Maureen sat frozen, hands white-knuckled on the stand. She found Woo Jin in the gallery. His face was stone. Furious. The judge banged the gavel. Counselor, another stunt like that, and you'll be held in contempt. Miss John, you may step down. Maureen's legs barely held her as she left the stand. She made it to the bench beside Detective Han and sat down hard. Breathe, Han whispered. You did fine. That was theater. The jury saw through it. But Maureen wasn't sure. She looked at the jury box, 12 faces, expressions unreadable. The defense called Subin next. She took the stand with perfect posture, dabbed at her eyes with a tissue before speaking. When she answered questions, her voice was soft. Contrite. I never meant to hurt her, Subin said. I was stressed about the wedding. My foot slipped. It was an accident. I tried to apologize, but Mr. Park, her voice broke. He wouldn't listen. He chose to believe her over me. Why do you think he did that? Her lawyer asked. I don't know. Maybe he was looking for a way out of the marriage. Maybe. She glanced at Maureen. Maybe he was attracted to her. I don't blame him. She's beautiful, exotic. I'm sure she seemed exciting compared to boring me. Prosecutor Kim objected. The judge sustained it. But the words were already out there, hanging in the air like poison. The trial continued for 2 more hours. Testimony from hotel staff. The security footage played on a screen, grainy and silent, but damning. Ms. Kim taking the stand to confirm the footage was authentic, unedited. Finally, closing arguments. The defense painted Subin as the victim, humiliated, falsely accused, her life destroyed by a scheming immigrant and her guilt-ridden ex-fiancé. The prosecution showed the footage again, pointed out 17 incidents over 3 days, asked the jury if this looked like an accident. The judge called for recess. The jury would deliberate. Maureen escaped to the hallway, leaned against the wall, closed her eyes. You okay? Woo Jin's voice. She opened her eyes. He stood there, hands in pockets, face carefully neutral. I didn't plan any of this, she said. Voice rough. I wasn't on that floor too, I didn't know you'd be there. I didn't. I know. Do you? She pushed off the wall. Because in there, they made it sound like I orchestrated everything. Like I'm some kind of con artist who... Maureen. He stepped closer. I know you didn't plan this. I know what happened. I was there. But other people don't know that. The jury doesn't know that. Her voice cracked. What if they believe her? What if they think They won't. You can't know that. I can. His voice was certain. Final. Because the footage doesn't lie. And I'll testify if I have to. I'll tell them exactly what I saw. She shook her head. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't be involved in this at all. You should be, I don't know, married. Happy. Living your life. Not sitting in a courtroom defending me. Maybe this is my life now. The words hung between them. Before Maureen could respond, the bailiff called them back. The jury had reached a verdict. They filed back into the courtroom. Maureen's heart hammered against her ribs. She sat in the gallery this time, Woo Jin beside her, Detective Han on her other side. The jury for women stood. Middle-aged. Stern expression. In the matter of the People versus Choi Soobin, on the count of assault, we find the defendant guilty. The courtroom exploded. Soobin's mother screamed. Her lawyers immediately stood, calling for appeal. The judge banged her gavel repeatedly. Maureen couldn't breathe. Guilty. They'd believed her. On the counts of harassment and verbal abuse, we find the defendant guilty on all 17 counts. More chaos. The judge ordered silence or she'd clear the courtroom. Sentencing would come later, but the prosecutor had pushed for community service, anger management classes, and a restraining order keeping Soobin away from Maureen and the Grand Millennium staff. It was over. Maureen felt Woo Jin's hand on her shoulder. Steady. Grounding. You did it, he said quietly. She turned to look at him. We did it. Outside the courthouse, press swarmed. Cameras. Microphones. Questions shouted from every direction. Ms. Dawn, what do you want to say to your supporters? Do you feel vindicated? Are you and Mr. Park in a relationship? Detective Han pushed through, creating a path. Woo Jin stayed close to Maureen's side, one hand hovering near her back. Not touching. Just there. A black car waited at the curb. They climbed in. The door closed. Silence. Maureen's hands were shaking. She pressed them flat on her thighs. You don't have to talk to the press, Woo Jin said. Ever. My lawyers can handle statements. I should say something. Thank people for believing me. You don't owe anyone anything. She looked at him. I owe you. No. His voice was firm. You don't. You earned everything you have. The scholarship, the apartment, the opportunity. You earned it with your work ethic and your character. I just opened a door. You walked through it yourself. But if you hadn't been there that day, someone else would have seen eventually. Her mask would have slipped. He paused. I'm just glad I was the one who saw. The car pulled up to her apartment building. Woo Jin started to get out with her. You don't have to walk me up. I know. He did anyway. In the elevator, silence stretched between them. Different than before. Charged somehow. At her door, Maureen fumbled with her keys. Do you want to come in? I could make coffee or I should go. Right. Of course. She opened the door. Turned back. Thank you. For everything. For believing me. For being there today. For Maureen. He said her name like he was tasting it. Testing it out. Can I ask you something? Yes. That day in the hallway. When I bowed to you. What did you think? She remembered. The shock of seeing him bend at the waist. The impossibility of it. I thought you were crazy. Rich people don't bow to housekeepers. I wasn't bowing to a housekeeper. I was bowing to someone who deserved respect and hadn't received it. He stepped closer. Not crowding. Just present. And I'm glad I did. Because it led me here. To my apartment building. To knowing you. Her breath caught. Woo Jin. I'm not saying this because I expect anything. I know there's a power imbalance. I know you might feel obligated because of the scholarship. His voice was careful. Measured. But I need you to know. I didn't give you that scholarship because I'm interested in you. I gave it to you because you earned it. The fact that I'm interested now, that's separate. That's complicated, she finished. Very. Your sister warned me. Said people would talk. Would say I seduced you or whatever. People are idiots. Maybe. She smiled slightly. But she's not wrong. If there's anything between us, people will use it. Will say I planned everything from the start. Let them talk. Easy for you to say. You're a billionaire. I'm a scholarship student who just testified in court. So, he said it like a challenge. You think I care what people say? You should. Your reputation, your company. My company will be fine. My reputation survived canceling a wedding 3 days out. It'll survive this too. He took a breath. But if you're not interested, if I'm reading this wrong, tell me. I'll back off. We can keep this professional. Maureen's mind raced. This was insane. She'd known him for 3 weeks. He'd been engaged to someone else a month ago. She was his scholarship recipient. The power dynamics were a nightmare. But she remembered the way he'd bowed in that hallway. The way he'd looked at Soobin and said I saw you kick her like it was the only truth that mattered. The way he'd sat in that courtroom today, solid and unwavering. I don't know if I'm interested, she said honestly. I don't know you well enough yet to know that. Fair. But I'd like to know you. If we can figure out how to do that without it being weird or inappropriate or coffee, he said. Just coffee. As friends. No pressure. No obligations. As friends. And if it becomes more than that, we'll figure it out. Together. He stepped back. Creating space. But only if you want to. No pressure from the scholarship or anything else. She nodded. Okay. Coffee. As friends. Tomorrow? There's a place near campus. Small. No one will bother us. Tomorrow, she agreed. He smiled. A real smile that reached his eyes. Good night, Maureen. Good night. She watched him walk to the elevator. Watched him turn back once, lift a hand in a small wave. Then he was gone. Inside her apartment, Maureen leaned against the door. Her phone buzzed. Text from Chioma. The news is everywhere. You won. I'm so proud. Thanks. Also, I saw the photos of you and Mr. Park leaving court together. Girl. It's not like that. Sure. And I'm still the Queen of England. Maureen smiled. Put her phone down. Walked to the window. Soul stretched out below. Lights. Life. Possibility. 3 weeks ago, she'd been on her knees in a hotel hallway, spray bottles scattered around her, a bruise blooming on her shin. Now she was here. Scholarship student. Court case 1. Standing in an apartment in Gangnam with a billionaire's phone number in her contacts and the words "coffee tomorrow" echoing in her mind. Her father's voice in her memory. Make something of yourself, Omomi. Be more than they expect. She pressed her hand to the glass. I'm trying, Papa, she whispered. I'm trying. 6 months later, Maureen stood at the front of a lecture hall as a guest speaker. The topic, dignity in service, why every worker deserves respect. The room was packed. Students, hotel managers, industry professionals. And in the back row, quiet and unassuming, Woojin sat with his grandmother. Maureen caught his eye. He smiled. She smiled back. They'd figured it out. The coffee dates had turned into dinners. Dinners into long walks through Seoul. Walks into something neither of them had planned, but both had chosen. People talked. Of course they did. But they talked less when Maureen graduated top of her class. When she was offered a management position at a 5-star hotel chain. When she started her own nonprofit helping immigrant workers navigate Korean employment law. She'd stopped being the girl who got kicked and become the woman who stood up. And Woojin? He kept his promise to his grandmother. Used his power to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. Expanded the scholarship program to include legal aid. Made sure no worker in his companies ever felt invisible again. As Maureen finished her speech about the housekeeper who'd been kicked and the billionaire who'd bowed, the room erupted in applause. She stepped off the stage. Woojin met her at the bottom. Good speech, he said. You've heard it before. Never gets old. He offered his arm. Coffee? As friends, she teased. Maybe a little more than friends now. She took his arm. Maybe. Outside, Seoul hummed with life. Maureen looked up at the sky, clear and endless, and thought about the girl she'd been. The woman she'd become. The journey from that hallway to here. Some people learned too late that cruelty costs everything. Some people learned just in time that kindness could save them. And some people learned that dignity, real dignity, can't be given or taken away. It's something you carry inside yourself, no matter who tries to kick it out of you. If this story grabbed you, if Maureen's journey from that hallway to her own lecture stage moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because dignity isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. And everyone deserves that chance. See you in the next one.